So I'm going to catch you guys up real quick. Right? This is my awesome keto sister, Cathy, and she's invited me to her page to do a Keto 101 Q&A. So I decided, we already got started, why not bring you guys in on Instagram so you can hang out with us too, and we're going to pick up right there with Keto 101. If you don't know what keto is, we're going to chat about that.
Yeah.
And it's your turn.
And it's my turn? Okay. So, for those of you who are, kind of on the fence about keto, welcome to the group. There is no judgment here. I will not tolerate judgment on my group. Everyone is going to do their own version of keto, and I'm here as an advisor. I have a very good, strong knowledge of keto. I enforce it here in my home. My husband's been doing keto faithfully, better than I, over the past year, and he has lost, just on keto alone, what was it, 80, no, I forgot the number, I'm sorry, I want to say 65 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, just alone on keto, and he lost the rest of his weight when he was doing low carb for 4 years prior to keto. It took him 4 years. So he's lost over 115 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is insane. I'm just quick sharing us to my group too, because we're on yours and now we're shared to mine.
Sweet.
Yay.
So for those of you who are interested in keto, the basic knowledge of keto is high fat, moderate protein, low carb. Okay? So let's break that down. So high fat. You want to do your butters, you want to do your coconut oils, you want to do olive oil, but olive oil is kind of like on the bottom of the list. So breaking that down even further, you want to do your ghee. That's the best butter possible. If you can't do ghee, then do organic or grass-fed. If you can't do that, then do just your regular butter that you normally buy that's on sale.
Or save your bacon fat, baby. Oh, bacon fat is my favorite fat. For flavor too. I mean,
in my freezer.
Oh yes, I save it. I make bacon mayo too, with the bacon fat, which is, oh my goodness. If you've not had bacon mayo, you haven't lived. I'm just putting it out there and saying it lasts maybe 3 days. The jar lasts 3 days at my house when I make bacon mayo, because everybody loves it on everything.
If you love mayo, you're going to love that.
Oh, yes. And let's talk a little bit about, this is kind of not as beginner, but I want to talk a little bit about that, being able to make some of the things that you want at home. Because I think for people who are just beginning keto, it's very intimidating, and they feel like it's going to be expensive. It's going to be a lot of things. There are a lot of specialty ingredients. And for some recipes, there are a lot of specialty ingredients, but you don't need all of those things to get started. So I would love to talk about our kind of beginner starter list. What's on your list, like bare minimum basics grocery list? I want to start keto tomorrow. I'm on my way to the grocery store. What do I need to buy, Cathy?
Bacon.
Yes!
Bacon.
Bacon. And then throw some more bacon in your cart on your bacon.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say bacon. I would say get butter. And I would get almond flour. Those are my things.
Okay.
I mean, I like eggs. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, eggs for a protein carrier. That's how I explain it. I say your proteins are your carriers for your fat.
Everything is a carrier for fat. Carbs used to be a carrier for sauce. Now everything's a carrier for my fat. So for
how much weight have you lost?
On keto, I've lost 35 pounds, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but my goal was only 20. I only had 20 pounds left to lose once I got to goal, and I find myself now lighter than I've ever been, smaller than I was in high school. I'm a size 5 now, and when I started keto, I was a size 12. So 35 pounds for me is the difference between a size 12 pushing into a 14 and a solid 5.
But
so
I would say that even though you've lost 35 pounds, it looks more like 50.
It does, and it feels more like 100, to be honest with you. My total weight loss journey is 145 total. My original weight was 290 pounds, and I'm officially exactly half of who I used to be. You know, it's a long journey. Those don't ever happen overnight. I mean, I started my weight loss journey 7 years ago. And this is where I am now, but I'm at the point where I've found more than weight loss in keto. I've found relief from my depression, my anxiety, my daily aches and pains, my migraines, my irritable bowel syndrome. All of these things have been improved, and they don't have anything to do with the number on the scale. And you know what? If somebody said to me, you know what, Dory, you could stay keto, you could be keto, but you're gonna gain 50 pounds, I'd take it. Like, I would take it, and I'd be happy because I'm healthy and I'm happy in a way that I've never been. And I finally have a healthy relationship with food. Because I don't know about you, girl, but I have never, food has controlled me in ugly, shameful ways my whole life. Like, ways that I don't even like to admit out loud. I was the queen of the binge eaters, the secret eaters, the closet eaters, you know, the people who lift up stuff in the garbage to hide their wrappers so that nobody knows they ate them. This is me. Like, beep, beep, beep. You know, I'm that girl who, you know, orders 6 donuts at the drive-thru and pretends like I'm taking them for everybody at work, but really I'm just eating them in the car.
Yeah.
When nobody's looking.
Tracy would like the bacon mayo recipe.
Oh.
When you have moments.
Do you know what? While we're chatting, I will, oh, this phone is dead. As soon as we're done, I will post it for her. Because I have a YouTube video for it, and I even added a bonus no fail. Because I heard a lot of people say they tried the bacon mayo and it didn't thicken. It didn't thicken. And actually I have a secret to tell you, and I'm a giggle. Dr. Ken and Nisha's bacon mayo recipe, theirs never thickened. They did the video twice, and Nisha's there looking very unimpressed, and it didn't thicken. And they put it in the fridge, and he was like, oh, well, it's the thickness of ranch dressing. It tastes like really good. It's awesome. And I was like, okay, so, and that never happened to me. But I heard a few people say that when they tried to make the bacon mayo, that it didn't thicken. So I went the next step, and I made it no fail by adding just a sprinkle of xanthan gum. So then it thickens it, and that's only if you get to the point where it didn't thicken. But I want to talk about no failure. And I know that's not really beginner, but it is beginner. Because when you try things, they don't always work the way that you think they're going to. And people do one of two things. They either huck it in the garbage, or they try to fix it. Now, I want to encourage you guys to try to fix it. And I have a funny story to tell on you, lady. I'm dishing the tea. Oh my goodness, get your teacup ready. Get your teacup ready. Oh my God, because I'm gonna laugh. I don't know if you even remember this story or not. I don't know if you even remember it. Cathy wanted a recipe for lava cake. And Dory makes lava cake, which is 2 tablespoons of cocoa, 1 tablespoon of heavy cream, 1 egg, sweetener. You mix it all together. You bake it for 60 seconds to make lava cake, 90 seconds to make fluffy cake. Okay? I give Cathy the recipe. Cathy makes it. She sends me a picture of it. It's about an hour until I get the picture, and I'm like, oh my God, that looks delicious. And she's like, what? I thought I did it wrong. I didn't even taste it. I threw it out. And I'm like, oh, what? That's what it's supposed to look like. She's like, I didn't even taste it. I just assumed I did it wrong. And I threw it away. And guys, it was picture perfect. Like, when I saw the picture, I was literally like, oh my God, how good was that? And she's like, well, I don't know. I thought I did it wrong. I threw it away. And that's a newbie thing, right? Because you're like, well, it doesn't look like what I thought lava cake would look like, because a traditional lava cake, the lava's on the inside. And with a keto lava cake, it's kind of on the outside. But you still get the gooey lava. It didn't look like you thought it would look. And now who knows what it tasted like. It could have been the best cake ever. Just saying. It probably was.
And every time I've made it since then, it's never looked the same.
Right? And you're like, the one time I got it perfect, I threw that away. Like, the one time. That's my punishment. It always comes out so cakey. You never get that perfection again. Oh, and I want to encourage you guys, if you have any questions, post them. Because we are here, we're live right now, and we're able to answer any questions that you have. So, post them, and we'll get to them.
I'm glad you found it. That's awesome.
Yay! I'm so excited. So, for you, what do you think was the hardest thing when you started keto?
Oh, God. Well, I actually have a very old and dear friend watching with us, so if I mess this up, she's gonna rat me out. So I'm gonna tell you this already. I am a obsessive carb and sugaraholic. So my claim to that fame is that I could actually sit down and eat a whole pound of plain M&Ms and be fine with that. I was okay with that.
Family size bag though, right? Because nobody ever punks out on the little bag. Like, just saying. Like, who punks out on that little bag? Nobody.
I do now.
I do now.
So now, basically, the first thing that I honestly missed was bread. I didn't think I would miss it as much as I did. I didn't realize how much I ate it. The second thing I would say that I missed, living here in Wisconsin, we have frozen custard.
Oh.
We don't have ice cream. We have frozen custard.
Yeah, it's different.
It is different. So I missed that a lot. As a matter of fact, I made an agreement with my husband that when I lost 30 pounds, I was going to be able to get a scoop of custard. So, can anyone tell me what the problem with that is? Okay, that's the first problem.
Oh, well, I think we fall into food as rewards.
The custard too.
Right?
See?
Yeah. But food is rewards. Isn't that always been the way it's been your whole life? You get cake on your birthday. If you're a good girl and you get good grades, you get to go out for dinner. You know, it's always about the food. Rewards are always about food. And I think that when we make a dietary lifestyle change, it's important to think about other ways to reward ourselves. And I'll tell you a funny example. When I got into a size 9 pants, I decided I was going to buy myself a unicorn toque because I'm too old for that and I don't care.
I remember that. But I mean, we're oh my gosh, how do I even explain this? You start realizing, and that's one of my, it's called a non-scale victory. Okay, that was one of my non-scale victories, is realizing, hey, look, you have to reward yourself with something else.
Yes.
So I decided when I hit 25 pounds, okay, I was able to get a couple of my piercings put back in.
Oh, yes.
I used to have 13 all the way up, and I decided I was going to get them redone. So
we're twinsies, by the way. I'm a sideways girl. I have 6 on this side.
Okay.
And then 3 on the other side. Oh, and this side I have my tattoo.
Oh, there it is.
That's my only tattoo, by the way. just in case you were wondering.
But yeah, so that was my first non-scale victory, is realizing, hey, look, when you get to a point, that you want to reward yourself, do it without food. So that was my first epiphany, if you will.
Well, because when we binge dieted before, and that's how I'll call it, because I only ever dieted in a bingey fashion, I would do really good for, 3 days, 5 days, and in my head I would think, you know what, I've done so good, I'm such a good girl, clearly I deserve a donut. Clearly I deserve a donut, and also nobody's looking. So if I eat a donut in the car, then when I get home, I could be like, wow, do I ever deserve a donut? And have a donut.
That was another thing that I kind of missed, believe it or not, bagels.
Oh.
But guess what? We found bagels.
Yes.
Fathead bagels.
Fathead anything is the bomb. If you guys are new, I want to say, don't put off making fathead. I don't know why I put it off. I think I was already doing keto for almost a year when I tried fathead, because let's be honest, I'm lazy. We all know this about Dory. I don't want to cook. Everybody can't starve. Let's make it in 5 minutes or everybody starves. Dory. Dear God. I just thought, you know what, when it comes pizza time, I either did cheese crust or meat crust because it's easy. It's quick, it's easy, and I thought, I don't really want to go to the work of making a fathead dough, which, let's be honest, takes 5 minutes. You melt the cheese, you add the egg, you add the nut flour, that's it. It literally takes 5 minutes. I made it, and it changed my life and rocked my world. Now, I'm going to tell you, when it comes to pizza, for my family of 4 adults, what I used to make was 3 large frozen pizzas. If I made pizza, it was 3 big pizzas, would feed everybody, and there might be a couple slices left over. So when I made the fathead dough, it makes 1 pizza or 3 mini pizzas. So I thought, well, I'll make the 3 mini pizzas, and I made a double batch, because I thought, well, I usually make 3 large pizzas for 4 people. So I made us each, so that basically there was 6 small pizzas for 4 people. We had pizza left over. Let me say that again. We had pizza left over. I ate a half of a pizza. My guy ate 1. My brother ate half. My kid ate half. And we had 3 pizzas left over. I could have made 1 recipe of fathead dough to feed my family of 4. And that is unheard of. So when you think it's more expensive, it is. A fathead dough pizza costs more than a cheap pizza, but does it cost more than 3 or 4 cheap pizzas?
Right. Well, I had posted last week, Sunday, I went to grocery store. Now, Pick and Save is a little bit more expensive. It's technically Kroger.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more expensive than Walmart or Aldi or even Costco, depending on what you're getting. But that it's right near my house, and I actually posted the receipt, and it was under $100 that we spent for a week's worth, and we actually still have stuff left. I still have pork rinds left over that we didn't finish. I still have the eggs that we didn't finish. So some of that stuff even carried over. So our grocery bill has been cut literally almost in half.
Well, and for me, the way I save a ton on my keto groceries, and this is something I realized almost right into my keto. It was one of the first things I learned how to do was how to make my own nut seeds and flour meals and butters. That was one of the first things I learned, and that has saved me a small fortune, to be honest with you. Like, a small fortune. I can make my own pumpkin seed flour that I just make out of raw pumpkin seeds. I make my own almond, pecan, and walnut meal, and then I make my own nut butters and seed butters. You can even make your own coconut manna. So when you see the coconut manna in the jar, all it is unsweetened coconut and coconut oil ground together. That's it. So, oh, and I just spilt my coffee. Smooth, Dory. Give me 2 seconds. All over myself. I'm so smooth. Oh my goodness. Did I ever tell you about the time that I spilt coffee in my lap right before my live with Dr. Ken? I was literally going from one live to the other, and at the end saying goodbye on Bryce's live, and I spilt my coffee in my lap, and I was like, wow, I look like I'm so excited to see Dr. Ken. I pee myself. I mean, I'm excited, but ain't nobody that excited. I mean, come on, Dr. Ken is awesome, but nobody is that excited. And I had to quick change my pants, get back on live.
Once you get to know Dory, you guys, you'll find that she is absolutely a hoot, and she is 100% genuine.
Oh.
Okay, but this is really Dory.
Yeah, I really am this much of a mess. If you feel like I'm putting that on for you, like I really am a hot mess like that. Like, I already have like a huge pile of paper towel now, like right behind the camera.
So we have a question. How to, you know, and think that's separate. How much protein have you eaten per meal? So you'll notice actually that when you start to eat protein, because of fats, you actually cut down how much protein you're going to eat.
Yes.
So
for me, it's a little different because of the bariatric surgery. I still kind of eat the same amount of meat, but for me, I think the best way to keep it in perspective is I use the rule of thumb. So a thumb worth of fat on everything I eat. So if I have my serving of meat, which for me is usually about that much because of my small stomach, I throw a tablespoon of fat. When I have my vegetables, which is, 3 or 4 Brussels sprouts cut up, I throw a tablespoon of fat. When I have a salad, I throw a tablespoon of olive oil on it. So as a general rule, I always remember to add fat to everything I eat, and then you won't overeat. You don't have to worry about overeating your proteins if you add your tablespoon of fat, because you'll just be too full. You can't eat a 16, 20-ounce steak if you throw 3 tablespoons of butter on it. You won't. You'll eat 6 or 8 ounces of meat instead. And everyone has their own threshold, the same as with carbs. Some people can eat a lot of protein and it doesn't bother them. I mean, some people are carnivore and all they eat is protein. For some of us, if you go over in your protein, it converts to sugar and all of a sudden you're smack dab in the middle of a stall. So you really need to experiment with your body and see how much is too much. And you'll know, like, if you've eaten too much meat, girl, you will know you ate too much meat. It will feel heavy in your stomach. It will feel heavy in your body. You might even get meat sweats if you eat too much meat. Well, yeah. Al, my guy says there's no such thing as the meat sweats, but I've seen people have them.
Is butter or coconut oil better? What would you say? I would say that butter is better than coconut oil, depending on what you're doing.
See, and that would have been my first question. For what? It depends on what you're using it for. I love them equally. When it comes to versatility with baking, coconut oil is king. It's king. It's so versatile. You can use it for so many things. I use it in almost all of my baking. Price point wise, I think butter is cheaper depending on, how much butter is. A 1 pound brick of butter is $6. A big thing of coconut oil is $30. But again, it depends on what you're using it for. All day long, bacon fat is my favorite.
Everything's better with bacon.
Everything's better with bacon, baby.
Do you have any questions from your group?
Oh yes. what do you use the coconut oil and flakes for? So that's to make the coconut manna. And I'm going to open it up and show you guys. Some people call it creamed coconut. Some brands call it coconut manna. But it just comes out of the jar in the spoon like that. And it's a coconut spread. So I use the coconut flakes and coconut oil to make the manna. And then the manna you can use to spread on mug bread. You can use it as a base for fat bombs. I most often just eat it off the spoon like peanut butter. It's just an instant fat bomb, really. It's just fat and coconut. And I find it very satisfying. But it's an amazing base for fat bombs too. So when you have these kinds of things on hand, that's what makes your convenience, right? And it only takes under 5 minutes to make this at home. Under 5 minutes. Under 5 minutes to make your own nut flour.
Her own stuff.
Oh.
Seriously.
Because, and I want to tell you why, and I'm going to rant a little bit. So saddle up for a Dory rant. I make everything, and that ain't because I want to. And that ain't because I got free time. And that ain't because I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm like Martha Stewart, creative. It's because I live in Canada, where I cannot get access to these products. I learned how to make coconut manna because I can't buy it. I can't buy it. But here's the thing. Coconut manna costs $8 to $12 a jar, depending on the brand. And it takes a half of a bag of coconut that costs me $1.50. So I can make it at home for under $1.50 when I include my coconut oil, or I can pay $13 and then pay double because I'm shipping it to Canada. So I don't know, do you want to pay $26 for a jar of coconut manna? Or would you like to make it for under $2? So out of necessity, I learned how to make things. The first thing I learned how to make was my own flavored coffee syrup, because I saw the Skinny Girl syrups and I wanted them. Dear God, I wanted it more than life. Coffee was the hardest thing for me. I used to put 6 sugars and flavored creamer in one of these.
Girl, I used to put 12 sugar.
Oh dear God, I'm like, I don't know, what's that, like 100 grams of sugar per one, right? Like, oh, that's all good, whatever, you don't know me, you ain't the boss of me. You don't know, I like me coffee. I never liked coffee. I liked sugar. I liked flavored creamer. So when I went on the hunt for them, I live in a small town. We have 6 stores. I went to every store in town. I spent 2 hours going around everywhere. I couldn't find it anywhere. So then out of desperation, I went to McDonald's because they have sugar-free syrup. But guess what? If you ask them, even really, really sweet, they won't sell it to you. They won't sell it to you. Go figure, right? Like, even if you're really nice, like, even if you're like, you know, begging and stuff, like batting your eyes and like flicking your awesome colorful hair, just saying, they still won't sell it to you. So then I went to Starbucks because I went, okay, well, Starbucks retails that stuff, but they don't at my store in town. And again, all my wiles and all my charms could not get them to sell me. Yes, I cannot get. This is not something that I have access to. And I thought, you know what? I am not driving an hour each way to the city to do the same thing again and drive to 6 different stores and hope and pray and cross my fingers. Maybe I could have it. I went home and I started Google how to make syrup. And guess what I found out? Want to know? Want to know what it is? Water, sweetener, and whatever flavor you want. That's it. That's it. That is a wah, wah, wah. And I was like, okay, do I really want the $28 bottle? Or do I want to make whatever flavor I want whenever I want at home with my water that's free out of my tap? Well, technically I pay for it because I pay a water bill, but I'm already, I'm going to shower. So, it's already paid for. And the sweetener that I already have at home, and then I can make it. So I learned how to make it. And that was the first thing that I learned how to make. And the first thing that blew my mind. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like you are actually, I was mad. I was salty. I was Dory salty. I went on a rant. I went on a rant about sweeteners and coffees. Oh, I had it up, a big one. I was not a happy lady when I realized that I've literally been spending this money my whole life for water and sweetener and whatever flavor I want.
For those of you who live here in Milwaukee
and can have it, I hate you. Love you. Just kidding.
I just found out about this place. I had no idea that this place even existed. It's called Tuesday Morning. That's the name of the store.
Okay.
Tuesday Morning, today actually had 20% off on certain items.
I like percents off.
$3.99, and then I got 20% off. I bought 10.
And you know, I try so hard to be your friend. Like, you know,
for me because I got it for a deal.
I love you long time. You know, like, what? It's not even worth it to ship me a bottle. There's no point even begging for one because shipping is ridiculous to Canada. And also our postal system is on strike. So we're still getting mail service, just not 5 days a week. It's less. So yeah, things are taking a really long time to get to me. When Joette mailed a package to me, the lady at the post office literally said, as a frame of time, when she said, how long will that take? She said, forever. It's going to take...
Are you kidding me?
No, literally. The lady at the post office said, this is going to take forever. Like, she didn't be like a week or 2 weeks. She's like, dude, this is going to take forever. And it did. Like, it did take forever.
Oh my gosh. So, I just want to kind of touch base a little bit on, since we're kind of on the coffee theme.
Yes.
Some people had asked me questions about like keto coffee, bulletproof coffee, and I really like Nancy's answer to that. I wish Nancy could be on this call too. That would be awesome.
I know.
That would be in trouble.
God.
So basically, if you're gonna do a bulletproof, which is a name brand, so we like to call it keto coffee.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do a coffee, that is just a tool, okay? I want to emphasize that again. I know I did a video on how to make keto coffee, but Dory, step in if you disagree, but it's basically a tool. You don't want to rely on that as, you know, on the daily as part of your, what's the word I'm looking for, regimen?
And I think it depends a little bit different with everybody. Now, one thing I will say is that it seems to be a conception in the community that if you're going to keto, you have to bulletproof coffee. You have to. I've seen a lot of groups where people post things like, oh my God, I hate bulletproof coffee. Help me. What am I going to do? Don't drink it. If you don't love it, don't drink it. But the one thing that I find people stumble with the most when it comes to the bulletproof coffee is they think, I'm awake, I have my bulletproof coffee, and then I go about my day. Now, what I suggest to people, I ask this, are you hungry in the morning? When you wake up in the morning, Cathy, are you hungry as soon as you wake up?
Me?
Yes.
Totally.
Okay, then you should have your bulletproof coffee in the morning because you wake up, you're hungry, you need that something to pull you through until it's time to eat. Okay? But if you're the kind of person, for example, I have a girlfriend and she's like, well, you know what? I get up, I do my day. I'm usually hungry around 11 a.m. That's when you bulletproof coffee. When you're hungry, you're hungry, but it's not quite mealtime and you need that to get you through to when you're going to eat. But the problem is a lot of people fall back on the bulletproof coffee and they have 2 or 3 or 4 bulletproof coffees a day, and they're consuming so much fat in their coffee, you don't have room for food. So then you're taking in all of your fats without any dense nutrient. So that's where people fall into a problem with bulletproof coffee. Whereas for me, because, and only because of my bariatric surgery. Now, I am only able to consume 4 to 6 ounces of food in a serving. So, you know what, just to give you an idea, that's 1 egg and 2 strips of bacon. That's a meal for me. Now, with my ratio of fat to protein to carbs, and somebody asked me to work it out in tablespoons, so bear with me. I don't know why they did, but it served me well since. It works out to 15 tablespoons of fat a day is what I need to eat. So explain to me how you eat this much food 2 or 3 times a day and add 15 tablespoons of fat to that without eating fat soup for every meal. You can't. I physically can't. So for me, without bulletproof coffee, I would never be able to physically consume enough fat due to the quantity of food I can consume. So for me, bulletproof coffee is a necessity, and I have more than one a day. But for the average person, this is a meal replacement. If you're going to have a bulletproof coffee, it's in place of a meal. It's so that you can get to the point where you're intermittent fasting, which is where we have 2 meals a day instead of the standard American diet, 6 meals a day. You remember that? 3 healthy meals plus snacks. The problem is every time you feed your body, and it doesn't matter what you feed it. It doesn't matter if you feed it ice cream or if you feed it broccoli. As soon as you put food in your body, you spike your insulin. So the least amount of times a day you can spike your insulin, the better off you are. So if you're eating 6 times a day, you're constantly spiking your insulin, and it doesn't give your body time to process, to heal, to do the things it needs to do. So bulletproof coffee is a really good transition into 2 meals a day.
Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, we talked about butters. We talked about coconut oils. We talked about nut flours.
Yes.
Meal. And now we've just touched base on coffee.
Okay, let's talk meats. Because that's a good question. You know, what meat can I have? What meat can't I have? Almost every meat you can have. For the most part, if it's a meat, you can eat. But guess what? We get to save money. We get to save money because we buy the higher fat meat. So no more chicken breast. We buy thighs and legs and whole chickens. No more extra lean steaks, and we get to buy the cheaper, fattier steaks and roasts and pork loins and pork chops. All of those things are cheaper. Seafood is all good, but it's lower in fat. So douse it in butter. Put the olive oil. Who doesn't love shrimp like drowning in butter? Lobster drowning, like, hello, sign me up, this girl. Like, I'm all like, dip the lobster and drink the butter out of the bowl. Like, drink it.
Excuse me, waitress, can I have 3 more butters?
Yeah, don't mind. Don't judge me. I'm licking the bowl.
So, we're actually coming up on like 45 minutes. So
okay.
I don't want to take up more of your time, even though we could probably talk keto all day long.
For hours?
If you guys have any more questions, just leave them in the comments below. Thank you very much, Miss Dory, for accompanying us.
Anytime, darling. I adore you. And before we sign off, I have to tell your people who you are to me, because your people don't know who I am or who you are to me. And I have to tell them, because you might would cry, but I don't even care. I'm doing it because I'm doing it anyways. Cathy and I met very, very soon after I first started doing videos and being out on the internet. I mean, I'd been keto already for almost a year, but when I started my group and I started making videos, and I think it was maybe one of my very first videos, like when I first started doing cooking videos. Back then I was very ambitious and I made a video of almost everything I ate because In the beginning, you don't understand how exhausting it is to film everything you do and how much more work it is. Like, it literally takes a 5-minute meal and makes it into an hour production of, making a video of it. But I had literally just signed off making my dinner video, and Cathy messaged me and she said, I just watched your live, so I know that you're busy and I don't really want to bother you, but I have converted a recipe from my grandma and I would love for you to share it. And I was like, but you have to, that's yours. You have to share that. You have to do that. I can't just take your recipe from your grandma and then share it. So I invited Cathy to join me live and cook something together. She cooked her deep fried cauliflower and I showed you guys how to make the easiest tomato soup ever, 2-minute tomato soup ever. And we had an absolute blast. But something else happened. When Cathy joined on live with me, she was so excited that she was dancing in her kitchen. And it hit me like a bolt of lightning. I used to do that. I used to dance around in my kitchen like a crazy lady until my mom passed away. And I was sad. And I never realized that I stopped doing it. 2 whole years, I didn't dance in my kitchen. And seeing you do it made me realize I'd stopped doing it. And it changed everything. I think it was January 2 was my first video with dancing in it, and there hasn't been one since. So, almost a whole year, but it changed everything about what I do, because I was out there and I was making recipes and I was sharing them, but I wasn't really sharing my joy, because until you reminded me that I had taken away my own joy, I didn't even realize how sad I was. So, for that, I will thank you forever, and I cry every time I think about it, because literally you're the lady who gave me my dance back. And it blesses me every day. And it's funny because now when I look back at my old videos, or I send somebody a video pre-dancing, they're like, that's so lame, Dory. There isn't even any dancing. I knew you weren't always cool. I knew you were lame once. I'm like, oh God. And it was lame. Oh my God. When I look back at my ones that are just a recipe, I was like, that wasn't even fun. That's so lame. I know, it's not fair. You're not allowed to make me cry like a big fat baby. But I do, because I want your people to know that are coming to your group who you are and what you bring and what you inspire. Because even all the way back then, you were changing and inspiring people and changing lives. And it's taken a long time for you to get to the point where you felt like you had enough knowledge to get out there and to start a group and to help people. And girl, I have been encouraging you to do this for ever. Just saying, forever. And I'm so proud of you, because you have so much to share, and there's so much in you that people can learn from, and you inspire me so much every day. And I've seen you in your best moments, and I've seen you in your hardest struggles. And when you struggle the most, I am the most proud of you. I want you to know that, because how many years did we give up as soon as it got hard the first time? And you know what? Successes and failures and struggles, I have seen you keep going. Keep going at it. Even if you have a bad day, even if you have a bad week, even if you message, like some people message me and say, oh dear God, Dory, I fell right off track and landed in a big bowl of Cheerios. What do I do? You know what? Having the courage to say, I fell off track and I landed in a bowl of Cheerios, that makes all the difference. Because the old us, we would have just pretended we didn't eat the Cheerios, and we would have been like, I am so on track, girl. I am on track AF.
Yep.
You don't know. And I think that I'm most proud of you for. And that's the beginning of our healing. That's when we stop letting food have control over us. Because guess what? You didn't lie about it. You didn't lie about it. You didn't hide it. You didn't stop going forward because you had a bad moment. And it's happened to me. Like, if anybody says, I have never eaten off plan, they're lying to your face. Like, to your face. And I've heard people say that, and they're like, oh, I never have. I'm like, you are lying. You are bold-faced lying, and I no longer trust anything you say, liar.
Miss Robin says, keep dancing, Miss Dory.
Oh, girl. We're going to have to do a dance party one of these days. We'll do a cocktail and a dance party. Like, oh my goodness. Yes. Hello.
Oh my God. Nobody wants to see me do that. But anyways.
Yeah, they do.
So, I love your guts, lady.
Oh, yes. I love you. I love everything about you. You're spunk. Girl, you is my soul sister forever. Forever. Forever, ever? Forever's a long time.
So, on that note, hello, Miss Rita. If anybody has any questions, leave them in the comments below. We'll get to them for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Let's make some really good choices this week, and let's try and get on the keto train this week, huh?
Yes.
So, I would say, let's try and do 3 replacements of water every day. So try and replace now 3 of your drinks with water that aren't normally water. I would say let's try and do that because we've been doing the 2 drinks a day for almost 2 weeks now. And then just remember, start replacing your items in your kitchen with keto-friendly products as you go. So that's pretty awesome. And if you start eliminating some of your carbohydrates, you won't get the keto flu come January 1. Just saying.
Yes, that's number 1 tip. Start easing down the carbs instead of carb loading, and you won't get sick.
Yep, that's a good concept. I don't want to get you guys sick. I just don't.
You know what? Throwing up, pooping all over the place, not that awesome.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
darling.